What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, Cruel Tax and Accounting Tutorial. And welcome to the Business Law Series. Pagpatuloy natin yung obligations and contracts. This time, pag-uusapan natin is yung Chapter 3, different kinds of obligations, particularly yung Section 1, pure and conditional obligations. Kaya lang hatiin natin sa dalawa itong didiscuss muna natin yan is yung Part 1 from Article 1179 to Article 1185. Okay? Kasi itong chapter 3, yung different kinds of obligations, marami yan no? From section 1 to section 6. Yung section 1, yun yung pure and conditional obligations. From article 1179 to 1192. So, hatiin natin sa dalawa yon. Tapos, susunod natin yung section 2 hanggang 6. Okay. So, simulan natin yung section 1, pure and conditional obligations. Simulan natin sa classification of obligation as to demandability. Ang pag-uusapan natin dito is yung pure obligation and conditional obligation. So, sa section 1 dito, halos iikot yung ating discussion sa pure obligations and conditional obligations. Okay? So, tandaan nyo lang yan ha. Dapat alam natin ang pagkakaiba ng pure and conditional obligation after section 1. Okay, so simulan natin sa Article 1179. According to Article 1179, every obligation whose performance does not depend upon a future or uncertain event or upon a past event unknown to the parties is demandable at once. Sir, ano ba yung tinutukoy dito sa paragraph 1? Ang tinutukoy dito sa paragraph 1 is a pure obligation. Okay, at ang point out dito, ang isang pure obligation ay demandable at once. Okay, ano daw yung isang pure obligation? It is an obligation whose performance does not depend upon a future or uncertain event o kaya upon a past event unknown to the parties. Okay, so mamaya explore pa natin yan. Second one, every obligation which contain a resolutory condition, okay, shall also be demandable. So, ang pinoint out na naman, another example of a demandable obligation. Ano daw yon? An obligation with a resolutory condition. So, mamaya, explore natin ano ba yung resolutory condition. Sabihin, ang tinutukoy dito sa second paragraph na isa ring demandable obligation ay isang uri ng conditional obligation. So, pumasok na yung pure and conditional. Pero mamaya, i-define pa natin yung conditional obligation. Okay. Tuloy natin. So, yung Article 1179, it is about demandable obligations. Ano nga yun? Yung pure obligation, tsaka yung obligation with a resolutory condition. Okay? So, tuloy natin. I-define pa natin ano nga ba yung pure obligation. Although nabanggit na kanina sa article, ano? Ulitin lang natin. It is an obligation that is demandable at once. Okay? Bakit? Because it does not depend upon a future or uncertain event nor a past event unknown to the parties at hindi siya isang obligation with a resolutory condition. Okay? So, inulit lang yun nasa article. Sir, di ko nga po maintindihan yun sa article So, padalain natin. Sa madaling salita, ang isang pure obligation, it is an obligation that has no condition or no period. Okay, mamaya i-define natin yung condition. Mamaya i-define din natin yung periods. Period. Sa madaling salita, ang pure obligation, walang condition, walang period. Ganun kasimple. Ibig sabihin, yung performance ng obligation, hindi nakadepende sa isang condition or sa isang period. Kaya siya tinawag na demandable at once. Okay? Sana maliwanag yun. Tuloy natin. Sample natin. First example, Tanjiro promised to give Musan a brand new car. Bakit bibigyan ni Tanjiro si Musan ng brand new car? Walang ibinigay na dahilan. Ano yung condition para bigyan ni Tanjiro si Musan ng brand new car? Wala ring ibinigay na condition. Kailan ibibigay yung car? Hindi sinabi kung bukas ba, next month ba, Next year ba? Or on a future date? Walang binanggit na ganon. No period. So, this is an example of a pure obligation. Number 2, Tanjiro obliges himself to pay 10,000 to Musan. Wala na namang condition na binigay, wala ring period na bigay, pure obligation. Okay? Third one, Tanjiro obliges himself to pay Musan 10,000. Kailan? Nagbigay na. Upon demand. Ibig sabihin kung kailan singilin ni Musan o hingin ni Musan yung 10,000, ibibigay ni Tanjiro kasi yun yung kanyang obligation. Yun yung pinangako niya, no? Obliges himself. Okay? So, sa tatlong example na to, lahat ito ay demandable. Ibig sabihin, anytime pwede nang i-require ni Musan na, halimbawa, asa na yung kotse, pwede niya nang hingin yan anytime. It is demandable at once. Okay? Tuloy natin. So, ano naman yung conditional? Diba, meron tayong pure. Pag pure, hindi siya conditional. Pag conditional, ito siya. Okay? Is an obligation. A conditional obligation is one the fulfillment of which is subject to a certain condition. Ano nga yun? Which may be an event which may or may not happen. Okay. So, ito ay isang obligation na merong condition. Na yung condition pwedeng mangyari or matupad, pwedeng hindi. Ganun siya. Okay. Define natin yung condition. Ano ba yung condition? It is a future. Yun. And uncertain event. So, ito ay isang event which is future and uncertain. Pag sinabi natin uncertain, pwedeng mangyari or pwedeng ma-fulfill, pwedeng hindi. Okay? Paano pag na-fulfill? Sabi, upon which the existence or extinguishment of an obligation is made to depend. Ibig sabihin, dalawa ang epekto. Kapag na-fulfill yung condition, ano yun? Pwedeng number 1, mag-exist ang obligation. Number 2, pwedeng ma-extinguish ang obligation. So, ang epekto ng isang, yung the happening of the condition is 2. Ano yun? Una, pwedeng magkaroon ng obligation. Pangalawa, pwedeng ma-extinguish yung obligation. Kaya meron tayong dalawang uri ng condition. Ano yun? We have suspensive condition and we have resolutory condition. So, ito na yung nasa article kanina, yung resolutory. No? So, ano ang pagkakaiba ng suspensive tsaka resolutory? Okay? So, pag sinabi natin suspensive condition or condition precedent or antecedent, ang epekto na ganito is fulfillment gives rise to an obligation. Ibig sabihin, pag natupad yung condition, magkakaroon ng obligation. Okay, para siyang switch. Pag nangyari siya, pag pinindot mo yung switch, magkakaroon ng ilaw. Ito naman, pag nangyari yung condition, magkakaroon ng obligation. Pag hindi natupad yung condition, walang obligation. Okay? Ano naman yung resolutory condition or condition subsequent? Its fulfillment extinguishes the obligation. Ibig sabihin, pag nangyari to, pag natupad yung condition, matatapos yung obligation or ma-extinguish yung obligation. Okay? Yung isa, it gives rise. Yung pangalawa, it extinguishes the obligation. Okay? Suspensive, resolutory. So, kailangan alam natin yung pagkakaiba niyan. Okay, sample natin. First example, Tanjiro promised to give Musan a brand new car. Kamukha nung example kanina, kaya lang may kaduktong. This time, may kaduktong na condition if he passes the CPA licensure examination. Okay, so may condition na ngayon, di ba? Para ibigay ni Tanjiro kay Musan yung kotse, dapat makapasa muna siya sa CPA licensure examination. This is an example of a suspensive condition. Wherein, pag nakapasa siya, ibibigay yung car. Ibig sabihin, yung si Tanjiro, meron siyang obligation to give Musan a brand new car. Ngayon, pag di naman pumasa, wala siyang obligation. Kaya yung suspensive condition, it gives rise to the obligation. Second example, Inusuke agreed to give Toyo 5,000 monthly allowance until Toyo graduates from college. So, ano obligation ni Inusuke? Bigyan ng 5,000 allowance itong si Toyo, monthly allowance. Hanggang kailan? Hanggang makagraduate daw siya. That's the condition. Okay? Ibig sabihin 'pag naka-graduate si Toyo, matitigil na yung pagbibigay or yung obligation ng Inosuke na magbigay ng 5,000 monthly allowance to Toyo. Ibig sabihin, the happening of the condition, yung pag-graduate ni Toyo, extinguishes the obligation of Inosuke. Therefore, this is an example of a resolutory condition. Okay? Maliwanag ba yan? Okay. Tuloy natin. Ngayon, ulitin lang natin. Kasi nga yung article na pinag-usapan natin, it is about demandable obligations. Ano? Kailan na nga demandable ang obligation or demandable at once? Number one, but it is a pure obligation. Okay? Yan yung nasa article 1179, first paragraph, no? O kaya naman, when it is subject to a resolutory conditions. Yung paragraph 2 ng article 1179 naman. Yung pangatlo, idagdag natin, when it is subject to a resolutory period. Pag-uusapan yan sa article 1193 paragraph 2. Okay? So, yan yung tatlong pagkakataon na demandable ang obligation. Discuss na natin yung dalawa. Okay? So, isa na lang yung kulang natin dyan, ha? Okay, tuloy natin. Ngayon, nabanggit dun sa may article 1179 sa first paragraph, unknown past event. Okay? So, mag-sample tayo ng isang condition na nakadepende sa isang past event, particularly an unknown past event. Okay? So, halimbawa, Nezuko is the owner of a parcel of land which is being claimed by Yahaba. Okay. So, itong si Nezuko at si Yahaba, sila ay nag-aaway over a parcel of land. Sabi ni Nezuko, kanya yon. Sabi ni Yahaba, kanya yon. Kaya ito ay dinala nila sa court. Hindi nila alam, last week, the Supreme Court has already rendered a final decision. Yun, hindi nila alam meron nang lumabas na yung decision ng Supreme Court upholding the right of Nezuko. So, si Nezuko ang tamang owner nung land. Okay, however, di pa natatanggap ni Nezuko yung notice that she had won the case. Kaya hindi niya alam. Okay? Now, Nezuko obliged herself to sell the land to Ruby. Okay? Hindi pa niya alam yung result. Nakipag-usap sa kay Ruby. Sabi niya kay Ruby, ibebento ko sa iyo yung land. Ano yung condition? Should she win the case against Yahaba? Yun yung condition. Pag nanalo ako sa claim ko dun sa parcel of land versus Yahaba, bebenta ko sa iyo itong land. Kay Ruby. Okay, ibang tao, ibang person yun na hindi si Yahaba, no? Okay, ang tanong, valid ba yung kanilang usapan? Definitely, yes. Dahil panalo na nga actually si Nezuko, hindi lang niya alam. So, that is an example of a condition depending on an unknown past event. Okay? So, conditional obligation ito. Okay? So, yun yun baka sabihin nyo wala example. So, yan yun. Okay? Sa mga law books, makikita naman natin particularly yung kay Hector de Leon. Mababasa natin dun yung mga example na to. Okay, tuloy natin. Article 1180. When the debtor binds himself to pay when his means permit him to do so. Oops. Sabi ni debtor, babayaran kita. Pag ito sinabi ni debtor or sa usapan, sabi ni debtor ay babayaran kita when my means permit me to do so. Ibig sabihin, pag may pera na ako, pag kaya ko na, babayaran kita. Ganun yung sabi ni debtor. Ang sabi, the obligation shall be deemed to be one with a period. Valid siya, pero hindi siya isang conditional obligation, hindi isang pure obligation, kundi isa siyang obligation with a period. So, kailangan maintindihan natin ano ibig sabihin ng period. Subject to the provisions of Article 1197. Okay, kung ano binando sa Article 1197 na may kinalaman dito sa article na to, mamaya, bago matapos tong article na to. Okay, so ito yung instance na ang duration ng period nakadepende kay debtor. Ibig sabihin kung kailan siya magbabayad, sa kanya nakadepende kay debtor, di ba? Tulad nun, di ba? Magbabayad ako pagka kaya ko na. Hindi natin alam kung kailan na eksakto yun, di ba? So, define natin kung ano yung period. A period is a future and certain event. So, event din ito. Kung naalala mo kanina, dinefine natin yung condition. Nakalagay doon, it is a future and uncertain event. Pag sinabing uncertain, pwedeng matupad, pwedeng hindi, pwedeng mangyari, pwedeng hindi. Pero ito, future pero certain. Ibig sabihin, future pero mangyayari. At pag nangyari siya, upon the arrival of which, the obligation subject to it either arises or is extinguished. Ang epekto niya kagaya ng epekto ng condition na pag natupad halimbawa yung isang suspensive condition, magkakaroon ng obligation. Pagka natupad yung resolutory condition, ma-extinguish yung obligation. Ito naman, ganoon din. It gives birth or death, causes death of the obligation. Ganoon din yung epekto niya. Kaya lang, we call this period. Kaya siya naging period, it is certain. Okay? At pag si debtor, pinangako niya na, halimbawa, magbabayad ako pagkaya ko na, we consider that as an obligation with a period. Di lang natin alam eksakto kung kailan yung period na yun. Parang ganito, ano ba yung example ng isang future and certain event? Future, pero mangyayari siya, hindi lang natin alam eksakto kung kailan. Halimbawa, yung death. Alam mo ba kung kailan ka mamamatay? Di ba? Hindi naman. That is a future event. Di mo lang alam eksakto, pero that is a certain event. Diba? At lahat naman tayo ay doon papunta, mamamatay, di ba ganon? So, certain. Ngayon, tuloy natin. Example, pag sinabi ni debtor, yung mga ganitong wordings, or ganitong mga terms sa obligation, sabi niya, I will pay you little by little, as soon as possible, okay, from time to time, anytime I have the money, or in partial payments, ito ay, lahat ito, kamukha nung binabanggit sa article natin na obligations with a period. Okay? So, ito yun, mga kahawig niya, kumbaga. Valid ba tong mga to? Yes, valid. Kaya lang, may nakikita ka bang problema sa ganitong klase ng obligation? Tama, meron, di ba? Ang problema dito, hindi alam eksakto ni creditor kailan siya pwedeng makasingil, no? Kung kailan siya dapat bayaran talaga kasi ito ay nakadepende kay debtor. Kaya, ang sabi dun sa bandang dulo ng article, subject to the provisions of Article 1197, nakalagay dun sa Article 1197, the court may fix the duration of the period. Kapag ganyan. Hindi kasi pwedeng forever ganun di ba? Kung kailan lang maisip ni debtor yan parang ganun. So, si creditor, may remedy siya to ask the court to fix the duration of the period. Okay? Ay, tuloy natin. Article 1181. Balik tayo sa conditional obligations. The acquisition of rights. Okay? As well as the extinguishment or loss of those already acquired. The right pa rin yung pinag-uusapan. Okay. Mabalik tayo sa isang obligation. Sa isang obligation, merong debtor, merong creditor. Si debtor, merong obligation. Si obliger siya. Si obligee or si creditor, meron siyang right. Kaya dito, the acquisition of right ni creditor or the loss of right ni creditor shall depend upon the happening of the event which constitute the condition. Okay? Parang binaliktad lang di ba? Halimbawa, yung suspensive condition, pag nangyari siya, magkakaroon ng obligation si obliger or si debtor. Ganun din naman sa kabilang side, si creditor, meron siyang right ngayon. O ano man yung napag-usapan nila, magkakaroon siya ng right, acquisition of right. Kailan siya magkakaroon ng right? Pag nangyari yung condition. Balik rin naman natin, pag resolutory yung condition, yung right ni creditor ay mawawala kapag nangyari yung condition. Ito lang yung binabanggit dito. Okay? Yung acquisition of rights or extinguishment of right depends upon the happening of the condition in which doon nakabase yung ating obligation. Okay. Sampulan natin para mas maintindihan. Example ng acquisition of rights, particularly kapag ito ay, siyempre yung suspensive condition, di ba? Aabangan mo kung magkakaroon ka ng right. Si debtor naman, aabangan niya kung magkakaroon siya ng obligation. Si creditor, yung kanyang right. Sample, Yushiro, the testator, in his last will and testament, gave some property to his heir, Hinaki. Okay. So, sa last will and testament niya, sabi niya, ibibigay ko sa itong building na to. Kunwari ganun. Provided Yushiro would die within 2 years. May condition. Suspensive condition. Pag namatay ako within 2 years, yung isinulat ko sa last will and testament na to ay mapapasayo yung building. Ibig sabihin, kailan magkakaroon ng right or ma-acquire ni Hinaki yung kanyang right over the property? Kapag natupad yung condition, ano yun? Namatay si Yushiro within 2 years. Di ba? Halimbawa, after 1 year, namatay na siya o may karapatan na si Hinaki doon sa right. Okay? Kasi nangyari na yung condition or natupad na yung condition. Another example, nanalo ka sa loto, sa sweepstakes, tapos pumunta ka sa PCSO to claim your prize. Tanong, bibigay ba sa'yo agad? Halimbawa, na-recite mo yung number, kabisado mo yung number, ano? Sinabi mo sa kanila, bibigay ba agad sa'yo? Siyempre, hindi. May condition. Ano yung condition? I-surrender mo yung ticket. Kasi kahit ikaw pa talaga yung nanalo, pero wala ka ba ipakitang ticket, hindi nila ilalabas o i-release yung iyong price. Okay? So, pag ma-acquire yung right mo over the price, you have to surrender the ticket. Ganun kasimple itong example na to. Okay? So, tuloy natin. This time, loss of rights already acquired. Ibig sabihin, nangyari yung resolutory condition. Mukha na example kanina. Genya binds himself to support Kanao until Kanao graduates from college. So, supportahan ni Genya si Kanao hanggang makagraduate. Kailan magsisimula yung support? Ngayon na, habang nag-aaral. Ngayon, yung right ni Kanao to receive support shall be extinguished once the condition is fulfilled. Kailan yon? Pag nakagraduate na sa college si Kanao. Diba? So, ma-extinguish na yung kanyang right to receive support. Okay? Another example, Kiyo, binentahan na lupa si Sumi. Pero sa usapan nila, subject to Kiyo's right to repurchase. Itong si Kiyo, pwede niyang bilhin ulit. Okay? Ngayon, nung binenta ni Kiyo kay Sumi yung property, nagkaroon ng right si Sumi over the property kasi siya na yung owner nun. Tama? Pero once na si Kiyo in-exercise niya yung right niya to repurchase the property, nangyari yung condition, syempre, mawawala or ma-extinguish yung right ni Sumi over the property. Mababalik kay Kiyo. Okay, so ganun lang yan. Okay, tuloy natin. Article 1182. Mag-uusapan dito is classification of conditions as to origin. Okay? So, when the fulfillment of the condition depends upon the sole will of the debtor, ito daw ay void. Conditional obligation shall be void. Inulit ko the fulfillment of the condition, kanino daw nakadepende? Kay debtor. On his sole will, void yun. Diba? Kumbaga, diba yung condition, inaabangan natin kung matutupad o hindi. Yung pagkatupad niya, nakadepende kay debtor. Ba? Di ba delikado yun? Kaya sabi ng batas, it is void. Kasi kung nakadepende kay debtor, di niya gagawin o tutuparin yung condition para hindi siya magkaroon ng obligation. Ganun kasi yung mangyayari din. No? Kaya sabi, it's void. But if the condition depends upon chance or upon the will of a third person, the obligation is valid and it shall take effect in conformity with the provisions of this code. Okay, so valid siya kapag yung happening of the condition depends upon chance or upon the will of a third person. Okay, halimbawa, pag umulan bukas, babayaran kita, ganon. It depends upon chance. O, diba? O, kaya pagka sinabi ni nabayaran na kita, babayaran kita. O, it depends upon the will of a third person. Halimbawa, ganon, diba? So, that is valid. Pero pag kay debtor lang, nakadepende yung fulfillment of the condition, it's void. Okay? Explore pa natin yan. So, ang pag-uusapan natin dito is yung potestative condition, yung casual condition, tsaka yung mixed condition. Okay? Pag sinabi natin potestative, ito yung the condition depends upon the sole will of one of the contracting parties. Ibig sabihin, the fulfillment of the condition either depends kay debtor or kay creditor. Kahit sino sa kanila, isa sa kanila. Pag nakadepende kay debtor, sabi natin kanina void. Pag nakadepende kay creditor, valid kaya or void, sagutin natin mamaya. Pero basta yung potestative condition, nakadepende sa isa sa kanila. The fulfillment of the condition. Pag sinabi naman natin casual, the condition depends upon chance or upon the will of a third person. Or, okay, so the happening of the condition depends upon chance or upon the will of a third person. Okay, so wala kay debtor, wala kay creditor, hindi sa kanila nakadepend. Pag sinabi naman nating mix, ginamit nating the condition depends upon chance and, ayun, dalawa, upon the will of a third person. Kapag ganon, you call that mix condition. Tanong, valid pa rin kaya yan? So, mamaya, pag-usapan pa natin, ano? Pero isang alam natin, base sa pagkakabasa natin ng article na to, kapag ang fulfillment ng condition depends on the sole will of the debtor, it is void. Yun ay isang example ng potestative. Okay? So, follow-up question, lahat ba ng potestative condition ay void? Sige, explore pa natin. So, doon tayo sa potestative condition. Example, halimbawa, yung suspensive condition nakadepende kay debtor upon the sole will of the debtor, that is void. Yan yung binanggit sa article. Sample, pag sinabi ni debtor na, bayaran kita pag gusto ko na, o kaya I will pay you after I recover what Goto owes. Ibig sabihin, babayaran kita pag nakolekta ko na yung utang ko kay Goto. O kaya, I will pay you upon the sale of the house in which I live. So, lahat ito nakadepende kay debtor. Pwedeng gawin niya, pwedeng hindi. Pwedeng tuparin niya, pwedeng hindi. Pag di niya tinupad, wala siyang obligation. Pag tinupad niya, magkakaroon siya ng obligation. O kung ikaw yon, ano gagawin mo? Diba? So, sabi ng law, it is void. Makatarungan lang, tama? Okay? Another example. Example naman natin yung isang pre-existing obligation tapos nagkaroon ng potestative condition na nakadepende kay debtor. Valid pa rin kaya yun? Tingnan natin. Ito yung scenario. Tamayo borrowed 150,000 from Masaki. Payable within 6 months. Period. Yun ang usapan nila ng utang. 150 payable within 6 months. Okay? So, perfected yung agreement ni Tamayo at ni Osaki dun sa loan nila, no? Subsequently, sabi ni Tamayo promised to pay Osaki after Tamayo sells his car, to which Osaki agreed. Sabi ni Tamayo, bayaran kita pag nabenta ko yung kotse ko. Pumayag naman si Osaki. Ang tanong, kanino nakadepende yung fulfillment ng condition? Yung kotseng ibebenta, kay Tamayo, tama? Si debtor. Sa kanya nakadepende. Kung ibebenta niya yung karo, hindi. Pag nabenta niya, magbabayad siya. Pag di niya ibinenta, wala siyang babayaran. Parang ganun yung gusto niyang sabihin, di ba? So, ang tanong, is this obligation valid or void? Ang sagot, the obligation is valid, pero yung condition is void. Why? Because it is a pre-existing obligation. May nauuna na silang na perfect na contract yung tungkol sa loan. Tapos sinunod mo lang tong condition. So, hindi siya valid yung condition. Pero yung obligation, valid. Ibig sabihin, parang hanggang dito lang yung effective. Hanggang sa Tamayo borrowed 150 from Masaki, payable within 6 months. Okay, yung mga kasunod niyan, that is void. Okay, hindi kailangan to pa rin. Okay, next. Potestative condition pa rin, pero yung condition nakadepende kay creditor at ito daw ay valid. Okay, halimbawa, sabi ni debtor, I will pay you my debt. Babayaran kita, creditor, kapag siningil mo ako. Ayun, kanino nakadepende? Kung magbabayad na si debtor, kay creditor, tama? Kasi pag sabi niya, pag siningil mo na ako, bayaran kita. Okay, so definitely valid ito. Walang problema dito sa ganitong obligation. Tuloy natin. Potestative condition. Pero this time, ang pag-usapan natin is, example natin is a resolutory condition that depends upon the will of the debtor. Sabi di valid. Pero pag suspensive, void. Teka, sample nga natin. Ang isang example yun yung kaninang nabanggit natin yung pacto de retro sale or yung sale with a right to repurchase. Yun ang isang example nito na resolutory condition nakadepende kay debtor. Okay. Tuloy natin. This time, pag-usapan naman natin is casual condition. Ano na nga ito? The condition depends upon chance or upon the will of a third person. Ganun siya. Sampulan natin. Kapag ito ay suspensive condition at ito ay nakadepende upon chance or a third person, casual nga, no? Is this valid? Example, Shin binds himself to sell his land to Nagi. Benta ko sa land ko, Nagi, kung mananalo ako sa pending court ko sa Supreme Court. Okay, ang tanong, si Shin ba ang may control kung mananalo siya o hindi? Sinagot agad, hindi. Siyempre, sino? Yung Supreme Court. A third person. Body. Diba? Supreme Court. Hindi niya kontrolado. Kaya ito ay valid. Okay? Nakalagay naman din sa article natin. Valid ito. Next. Another example nung casual condition. Okay? Si Bob ay isang building contractor. Sabi niya, pinagawa niya ng building si Bones Sichi. Okay? At ang sabi niya, nung natapos na yung construction, sabi niya, I oblige myself to repair at my expense any damage that may be caused to the building by any earthquake occurring within 10 years from the completion date. Ayun ang pangako ni Bob. Pag may nasira dyan due to an earthquake na mangyayari within 10 years after the completion period ng sabi, ako gagastos, babayaran ko, i-repair ko at my expense. Ibig sabihin, kailan mag-a-arise yung obligation ni Bob para i-repair yung damaged building? Kapag nasira yung building due to an earthquake. At ang earthquake, hindi natin tiyak kung kailan yan. Hindi naman masasabi na kung sino-sino kung kailan magkakaroon ng earthquake, diba? It depends upon chance. Hindi natin alam kung kailan yan mangyayari. So, this is valid. Okay? Ibahin natin ang konti. Gawin nating mixed condition. Valid pa rin siya, pero ibahin natin ang konti. Ano ba yung mix? Depends upon chance and upon the will of a third person. Si Bob ulit, building contractor, pinagtayo niya si Bonsichi ng building. Ang sabi niya, I oblige myself to repair at my expense any damage to the building after an earthquake. Yun yung upon chance. Kung masisira yung building due to an earthquake. Ito na yung depending and the will of a third person. Ito na. If found by a panel of arbitrators that construction defects contributed in any way to the damage. So, meron pang kasama pala sa usapan kapag yung isang panel of arbitrators, sinabi nila na ang dahilan ng pagkasira is construction defects. Ayun. Nakadepende sa will of third person. Tama? So, mix siya. Nasira due to an earthquake. Pangalawa, kapag yung mga nag-investigate, sinabi nila na ang cause nga ng pagkasira is yung construction defect mo. Therefore, doon pa lang magiging liable si Bob. Okay, pero pag halimbawa nasira due to an earthquake, tapos sabi ng panel, ay hindi ito due to construction defects, walang obligation si Bob pag gano'n ang senaryo. Okay, so summarize lang natin yung classification of conditions as to cause of origin. We have potestative, we have casual, we have mix. Pag sinabing potestative, the happening of the condition or the fulfillment of the condition depends upon the will of one of the parties, pwedeng si debtor, pwedeng si creditor. Okay? Pag sinabi naman natin casual, depends upon chance or the will of a third person. Pag mix, chance and will of a third person. O, ganun naman siya. Kung mapapansin mo, isa lang ang void. Bukod tangi siya void. Alin yun? Yung potestative condition na nakadepende on the will of the debtor. Tapos, ang condition ay suspensive. Sabi, that is void. Okay? So, ituloy natin. Article 1183. Ang pag-uusapan natin dito is impossible and unlawful conditions. Okay? Ang tanong, pwede ba yun? Tingnan natin. Dito, impossible conditions and those contrary to good customs, public policy, and those prohibited by law shall annul the obligation. So, hindi siya valid. Pag ang obligation ay merong provision na impossible condition, unlawful condition, that is void. Pero, ang sabi dito, pag tinuloy mo, if the obligation is divisible the part thereof which is not affected by the impossible or unlawful condition shall be valid. Okay, so dalawa, halimbawa yung condition, yung isa lawful, ayos naman, yung isa unlawful. Ang sabi, yung part na lawful, yun ang valid. Yung part na unlawful, yung condition, hindi yun valid. Okay? Ngayon, paano pag ang pinag-usapan nyo ganito? The condition not to do an impossible thing. Huwag mong gawing ang isang bagay na imposible. Ganun yung nasa agreement ninyo. Sabi, it shall be considered as not having been agreed upon. Yun siya, canceled siya. So, hindi siya in effect. Magkaganon. Wala siyang effect. Pag ganon, huwag mong gawin ng isang imposibleng bagay. Tama lang naman yun, di ba? So, kaya ito ay wala lang. Okay? Ngayon, pag-usapan natin yung kinds of impossible conditions. We have physically impossible and legally impossible conditions. Pag sinabi natin physically impossible, yung by its nature, it cannot exist or cannot be done. Halimbawa, sabi ang condition is kung makakalipad ka, from the 10th floor hanggang sa baba, di ba? On your own, bigyan kita ng 100,000. So, that's impossible. Okay? Impossible yon. Okay? Pag sinabi naman natin legally impossible, those contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. Okay? So, pag ang isang obligation merong impossible condition, that is void, ganun na. Okay? So, example ng physically impossible condition. Halimbawa, sabi ni Noriko will pay 100,000 to Dogen if it will not rain in the Philippines for 1 year. Diba? Impossible. Bayaran kita 100,000 pag di umulan ng isang taon dito sa Pilipinas. That's impossible. So, ang tanong, ito ba ay valid? Hindi ito valid. This is void. Okay, another example. Chiaki will give Madoka a car if Madoka swims across the Pacific Ocean. Diba? Imposible na naman. Therefore, this is void. Okay, it shall annul the obligation. Diba? Sabing ganon. Paano naman? Di magagawa yung mga yan di ba? At pag hindi nagawa yan, di walang epekto, walang mag-a-arrest na obligation. Ganun siya. Okay, so another example naman sa legally impossible condition. Okay, halimbawa, ang bigyan kita ng 10,000 ay sa'yo, patayin mo si ganito, unlawful. Diba? So, void. Okay, halimbawa naman, bigyan kita ng 1 million, basta ikaw ay maging common law wife. Okay, so magsama tayo for 10 years. Hanggang sa magsawa tayo, gano'n, bigyan kita ng 1 million. So, that is also void. Bakit? Ano to? Against moral, di ba? Di ba? Against moral. Kaya naman nakalagay sa sabi, bigyan kita ng 50,000. Kung sasampalin mo yung parents mo. So, hindi rin yan kasama. Bakit? It is against good customs. O kaya sabi, bigyan kita ng 5 million. Para may kilala tayong ganyan bigyan kita ng 5 million, mag-advocate ka para mapatalsik yung sino may nasa government. Okay? To overthrow the government. So, halimbawa, that is also void. Bakit? It's legally impossible. Bakit nga? It's against public order, diba? And then yung panghuli, babayaran ka, halimbawa, if you will not appear as a witness in a criminal case, that's against public policy. So, pag ganyan ang mga conditions, so, wala lang yan, no effect yung mga yan. Okay? So, ito na nga, since effect ang pinag-uusapan natin, kapag ang usapan nyo to do an impossible thing, but the condition and obligation are void, syempre, pag naman ito ay not to do an impossible thing, valid, as if, parang wala nga doon kayo napag-usapan di ba? Pag ganyan. If the obligation is divisible, gaya na nabanggit ko kanina, yung part na valid yung condition or hindi naman siya impossible, so valid yun. Pero yung part na merong impossible condition, siyempre void yun. The number 4, pagka Ang obligation ay pre-existing na tapos biglang dinagdagan ng isang impossible condition, syempre only the condition is void pero yung obligation is still valid. Okay? So, tuloy natin. Article 1184. Ang pag-uusapan natin dito is positive condition. The condition that some event happen at a determinate time shall extinguish the obligation as soon as the time expires or if it has become indubitable that the event will not take place. Okay? Sampulan natin para mas maintindihan nyo. Ang sabi doon sa article, an obligation with positive suspensive condition is extinguished. Okay? So, ang obligation ay ma-extinguish kapag daw as soon as the time expires without the event taking place. Hindi nangyari yung condition, hindi natupad yung condition doon sa time kung kailan nyo siya napag-usapan. Okay, sabi, extinguish yung obligation, ma-extinguish. Kasi nga, hindi nangyari yung condition, suspensive yan. So, walang mangyaring or walang mag-arise na obligation. Number 2, as soon as it has become indubitable that the event will not take place. Kumbaga, nakikita mo na hindi na talaga matutupad yung condition. Kahit hindi pa hintayin yung time na yon. Okay? So, sampalan natin. Halimbawa, Reka obliges himself to give Kuray 50,000. So, sila yung may usapan. Bigyan kitang 50,000, Kuray. If Kuray will marry Fuko before Kuray reaches the age of 23. Ayun. Pag pinakasalan mo Kuray si Fuko, bago ka mag-23, bigyan kitang 50,000. Pag pinakasalan ni Kuray si Fuko bago siya mag-23, magiging liable si Reka kay Kuray para ibigay yung 50,000. Paano pag hindi pinakasalan? Siyempre, Reka is not liable. Diba? Halimbawa, hindi yun ang pinakasalan at the age of 23 o kaya pinakasalan nung 23 na siya mismo o kaya nung 24 na siya. So, hindi na liable si Reka. Bakit? Ano usapan? Before Kuray reaches the age of 23. Ito naman yung example lang. Kahit hindi pa maabot sa 23 years old si Kuray, alam na natin hindi mangyayaring condition. Diba? If Kuray dies at the age of 22. Diba? May nabanggit kanina. If indubitable. Diba? Ikang gano'n. Diba? Tulad dito, namatay. Ibig sabihin, pag namatay, makakasal pa ba yun? So, hindi na. Diba? Kaya the obligation is extinguished. Okay? Kasi ang usapan dapat makasal before 23. Hindi na makakasal kaya ma-extinguish yung obligation. So, maliwanag sana yan. Ano? Ngayon, babalik rin natin yung scenario. This time, negative condition. Hindi naman baliktad. Parang gagawin lang nating negative. Ano naman ang mangyayari dito? Ang sabi, the condition that some event will not happen. Kaya siya negative, shall render the obligation effective from the moment the time indicated has elapsed or it has become evident that the event cannot occur. If no time has been fixed, the condition shall be deemed fulfilled at such time as may have been probably been contemplated, bearing in mind the nature of the obligation. Okay, so, paliwanag pa natin. Kapag naman an obligation with a negative condition shall become effective and binding, o, di ba? Pag lumagpas na dun sa time o kaya tumabot na dun sa time na napag-usapan ninyo without the event taking place o kaya naman alam mo na talaga hindi na mangyayari yung event. Okay? From the moment it has become evident that the event cannot occur. O, sampulan natin. Si Reka pa din. This time ang usapan ganito. Bigyan niya si Kuray ng 50,000 if Kuray is not yet married to Fuko on December 30. Pag hindi ka pa kasal kay Fuko on December 30, 2020, bigyan kita ng 50,000. Paano kung nagpakasal? On or before, nakalimutan ko, on or before December 20, ay December 30, Reka is not liable to Kuray pag gano'n. Kasi yung usapan, if Kuray is not yet married on Fuko on December 30, nagpakasal December 30, hindi na liable si Kuray. What if hindi nagpakasal? Halimbawa, Reka is liable to Kuray if on December 30, Kuray is not married to Fuko o kaya if Kuray marries Fuko after December 30. Okay? Sinunod nila, so liable. Ito naman yung example ng hindi na talaga mangyayari, no? Okay, if Fuko dies on November 20 without having been married to Kuray, the obligation is rendered effective. Bakit? Ang sabi, if Kuray is not yet married to Fuko on December 30, ang nangyari, namatay November 20 without having married, ang sabi, the obligation is rendered effective. Okay, so binaliktad lang yung kaninang senaryo. Okay, so that is part 1 of section 1, pure and conditional obligations. So don't forget to like, subscribe sa ating channel, and see you on the next video.